For those of us who are members of parliament and represent people, whether we have families and our families are our constituents or our divisions, we are confronted daily by people who are ill and who cannot afford private health care. Many times, a lot of them sit and suffer with basic illnesses. Sometimes it is hypertension that goes over time, that becomes even worse, that turns into a stroke. Oftentimes it is diabetes when it gets too far. Sometimes it is a cancer. And what I've found representing people, even from a very young age, I'm now in my 4th term, going 20 years, is that often when people don't have money, their health suffers. And growing up and listening to stories from older people, they would tell you that back in the day, the doctors used to live in the communities, at the community centers, the nurses, the midwives, and people trusted their community health center. It is for that reason that when I first became member of parliament of this constituency, I convinced the then minister, before Dr. Tufton, Minister Fenton Ferguson, to give us a center of excellence in Claremont. So that smaller health center that was there, we now have a center of excellence. It's one of a few in the islands to upgrade Claremont. And when I used to visit this health center, what broke my heart is that people used to have to sit out here in the rain. You would have people who are sick, children who have a cold, children who have an ear infection. And those of us who are mothers know that when a child is sick, you are not only miserable, but the child is even more miserable. So if you have to have the child in the sun. But there's something else that this health center does which goes unnoticed. This is the health center that treats a lot of the mental health patients across the community, across the constituency, and even across St. Anne. It is a community health aides that do the visits and go into the communities from this health center. It is this health center that people come to twice a week, every second Friday, to get their regular checkups and psychiatric care. And for those of you who have been following some of the things that I've been saying, some of the other things that other ministers have been saying, the truth is that we don't pay enough attention to mental health in this country. Only 7% of our children's mental health needs are actually being met because we only have 2 child psychiatrists, for instance, and we don't have enough child psychologists and enough people going out there. So one of the things I want to say in thanking the NERA is to say also that can we have an ambulance for the Center of Excellence out in Claremont, and can we have more staff here that can actually get out into the communities. As a member of parliament, I will tell you, over the last month I've dealt with 5 people with suicidal ideations. Women who just don't feel like they're coping. And it is something I will talk to Mrs. Lamb after about. But this is, Minister, I want to thank you, because Monique is a community that is an example for Jamaica. It is an example because we have the Monique community, but the Monique College that is here. It is an example because this has been a beacon, starting many different things like the Jamaica Social Welfare Program that later turned into the SDC, with community members raising their voices about how to get activism in Jamaica. So Monique means something not only to St. Anne, but it means something to Jamaica. It is a community of excellence, education, hardworking people. It is a transshipment for logistics now because it has basically the highway running through it with 2 exits, one here and one in Golden Grove. So you do need a facility that if someone gets sick traveling from Kingston to Montego Bay, that there is a facility that they can get off in Unity Valley, which is now here. And it fits in, Minister, with the other upgrades that we're doing. The transportation center that we're building out in Monique, and I'm happy to see the 2 councillors, because please ask the parish council to get the procurement going through, please, ma'am, and the extension of the wayside bus terminus for Monique College to help the students with security. So I want to thank Ms. Lamb. I want to thank the chairman of the board, Mrs. Heron. I want to thank the minister as a member of parliament, because believe it or not, we've done some good work together. Myself, even though we're on opposite sides, myself and the ministers of government have gotten some good work done in this constituency. and the people know. So thank you, and thank you.
Nude body found with gunshot wounds in Clarendon. The nude body of a man was found at Captureland, an area of Newton in East Clarendon on Saturday morning. He has been identified as 59-year-old Roy Freeman Goulburn, otherwise called Blacks, a resident from the community. Police believe Freeman was killed between 8:30 on Friday evening and 10:30 on Saturday morning. It was reported that residents heard loud explosions about 8:30 last night. Police said around 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, a miner went to get water from a nearby community standpipe when the body was discovered. The police were summoned, and the body found in the nude, lying face down, near a standpipe with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the upper section. The body was positively identified and later removed to the morgue. Suspect held following fatal stabbing of Manchester nurse. Police are reporting that a 29-year-old suspect was taken into custody following Friday night's stabbing death of his spouse in Newport, Manchester. The police had earlier launched a manhunt in the search of the suspect, who they identified as Kevin Leslie, otherwise called Nice, a taxi operator of Days Grove, Newport, and Broadley Street, Cross Keys in Manchester. Leslie is accused of fatally stabbing his common-law wife, Shade Brown, 28, a surgical assistant at their home in Daly's Grove, Newport. A senior police source said the two had a dispute about 8:30 p.m. when Brown was fatally stabbed. A report from the information arm of the Jamaica Constabulary Force said Brown, her 11-year-old son, another child, and her common-law husband were at home when the argument developed between the couple. The police report said that the man then proceeded to use several knives to stab Brown repeatedly. She was pronounced dead at hospital. The suspect fled the scene and was on Saturday afternoon held by the police. Teen boy found dead in St. Anne, father arrested. A St. Anne father has been taken into custody as the police probe the death of his son. The 14-year-old was found dead at the gate of their house in Inverness district. He has been identified as Cashway Nevers. It is reported that the teen and his father were at a wake in the community when they were later seen leaving the event. Residents subsequently stumbled upon the boy's body at his gate and the police were summoned. The residents went in search of his father, who was located and handed over to the police. The 59-year-old mechanic was taken into custody. Man attempts to smuggle contraband into Greater Portmore Police Station. One man is now in custody at the Greater Portmore Police Station lockup after he attempted to smuggle contraband into the facility. Reports are that a team of police officers was carrying out regular patrol of the compound around 2 o'clock Saturday morning when they accosted a man dressed in full black shirt and pants, wearing a mask and red sneakers. He was caught after jumping the fence to the back of the facility with a bag containing 7 cell phones, 5-phone charger, several boxes of cigarette and vegetable material resembling ganja and tobacco, along with lighters, 2 packs of razor blade, 1 piece of electrical cord, and 2 cell phones earpiece. He is said to be a 30-year-old man of Old Harbour, St. Catherine. He is expected to be charged later. This arrest comes a few days after the police carried out a major search operation at the facility and seized 1 ratchet knife, 1 hacksaw blade, approximately 3 pounds of vegetable matter resembling ganja, 9 chargers, 7 earpieces, 19 cell phones, 1 razor blade, cigarette lighters, and power banks. The police have since reviewed the security arrangement at the facility and have introduced some new measures. The police are again warning citizens to avoid being used by criminals to smuggle contraband into lockups. This is a dangerous practice that undermines our effort at maintaining peace in some of our most troubled communities, as gangsters who are in lockups try desperately to direct and give orders against their enemies. Stop it, declared Christopher Phillips, the Senior Superintendent of Police in charge of St. Catherine South Police Division.